Welcome to another Ziva Math video. One of the most asked questions about fractions that I get from my own students is, can I simplify this fraction? So that is what this video is all about. Simplifying a fraction is reducing it to its simplest form, and you will hear the terms simplify and reduce used interchangeably. Once you've completed any fraction problem, you will need to have your answer in simplest form. The focus of this video is to give you some tips to help you answer the question, can I simplify quickly? While I do work some examples in this video, if you're looking for a lesson on how to simplify, be sure to check out our other videos on simplifying fractions in the fraction playlist link in the description below this video. Alright, so can we simplify? The answer is yes, if you can divide the denominator in the fraction by the numerator. So let's look at two examples. We have 6/24, so the question is, can I divide 24 by 6? And because I can, I know I need to simplify, and we're going to simplify using that numerator of 6. So we're going to divide our numerator and denominator both by 6. So in our numerator, we have 6 divided by 6, which is 1. And our denominator will have 24 divided by 6, which is 4. So 6/24 can be simplified, and it simplifies to 1/4. And we'll also do the same thing with 7/35. Can I divide 35 by 7? If that answer is yes, and you can divide it and get a whole number answer, then you can simplify this fraction. And we're going to simplify it using the 7 that's in our numerator. So we'll divide our numerator and denominator both by 7. 7 divided by 7 is 1, and 35 divided by 7 is 5. So our simplified fraction is 1/5. So 7/35 simplifies to 1/5. And the fact that in both of these we have a 1 in the numerator is a rule you'll see later on. Can you simplify? And the answer is yes if the numerator and denominator share a common factor. So in this example, we have 9/30, and they share a common factor of 3. So we can divide our numerator by 3 and our denominator by 3. And 9 divided by 3 is 3. And 30 divided by 3 is 10. So 9/30 simplifies to 3/10. And ideally, you're looking for the greatest common factor that you want to use to simplify. So can we simplify? The answer will be yes if the numerator and denominator are both even numbers. And this relates to the example we just did about having common factors, because if both numbers are even, then they at least have a common factor of 2. And you can always start your simplifying process with 2. So we're going to divide the numerator by 2 and the denominator by 2 to simplify our 6/8, because the 6 and the 8 are both even numbers. So 6/8 simplifies to 3/4. So anytime that you have numerator and denominator that are both even numbers, you can always simplify because they'll share a common factor of 2. For the next example, we have 1/5, and can we simplify 1/5? And the answer is no. If your numerator is 1, then you can't simplify. And let's look at why that is. When we go to simplify, we're looking at common factors, but with 1, the only factors it has are 1 and 1. So the only thing we would be able to use if we were to simplify is 1. But if I'm going to divide my numerator and denominator by 1, then I'm going to get the same thing. So if your numerator is 1, you cannot simplify. For our next example, we have 9/10, and we cannot simplify 9/10 if you have a fraction where the numerator is 1 less than the denominator. You can't simplify. And we'll go ahead and prove how this example works by factoring both our numerator and our denominator, because remember, if you have a common factor, then you can simplify. So let's look and see if we get a common factor when our numerator is 1 less than the denominator. So if I factor 9, I get 1 times 9 is 9, and 3 times 3 is 9. So I get the factors of 1, 3, and 9. And I need to do the same factoring for my denominator of 10. So I get 1 times 10 and 2 times 5 for factors of 1, 2, 5, and 10. And the only common factor that 9 and 10 share is 1. And as we saw in the previous example, if the only common factor that they share is 1, then if I go to simplify using the 1, then I get the same fraction. So if I were to simplify 9/10 using the 1, I would get 9/10. So you can't simplify if your numerator is 1 less than the denominator. Okay, for our next example, we have 11/13, and 11 and 13 are both prime numbers. And my rule is I can't simplify if my numerator and denominator are both prime numbers. And we can look at why this is the case by factoring both our numerator and our denominator. And this goes back to the definition of prime numbers. If a number is prime, it's only divisible by 1 in itself. So the factors are 1 in itself. So the factors of 11 are 11 and 1, and the factors of 13 are 13 and 1. And so again, I'm looking for common factors. The only common factor that I have with prime numbers is 1. And if our only common factor is 1, if I use it to simplify, I'm going to get 11/13 is equal to 11/13. So our fractions can't be simplified if our numerator and denominator are both prime numbers. In a previous example, we noted that you can simplify if your numerator and denominator share a common factor. So if your numerator and denominator do not share a common factor, then you can't simplify the fraction. So let's look at this example. We have 25/36 and 25/36 do not share any common factors. And I'm going to go ahead and factor this for you so you can see the full example. So I'm going to look at the factors of 25, and then I'm going to look at the factors of 36. So if I have 25, I have 1 times 25, and then I have 5 times 5 equals 25 for factors of 1, 5, and 25. And then I need to factor 36, just like you would if you were looking for a common factor or your greatest common factor. So for 36, I have 1 times 36 is 36. 2 times 18 is 36. I have 3 times 12 is 36. 4 times 9 is 36. And 6 times 6 is 36. So I have factors of 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 9, 12, 18, and 36 when I'm done factoring. And if I look at both of those lists, the only factor that these two numbers share is 1. And like we saw with previous examples, if the only common factor you have is 1, then if you use it to simplify, you're going to get 25/36 again. So if your numerator and denominator do not share a common factor, you can't simplify. So when can you simplify? You can simplify if you can divide the denominator by the numerator and denominator share a common factor other than 1, and the numerator and denominator are both even. You can't simplify if the numerator is 1, if the numerator is 1 less than the denominator, if the numerator and denominator are both prime numbers, and when the numerator and denominator do not share a common factor. Thank you for joining us. Be sure you like this video and subscribe for more videos by Ziva Math.